evening and welcome to the Guardian Media Group's continuing coverage of Election 2010, and this is Platform Talk. It was a hectic week on the platforms as the campaign for the May 24th general election continues to heat up. The countdown to nomination day is on its mere hours away. Tomorrow, Monday, May 3rd, the date when candidates must present their nomination papers to the returning officers for processing and validation. Earlier today, the parties presented their candidates. The ruling People's National Movement at Woodford Square in the heart of Port of Spain and the United National Congress Alliance coalition at the Mid-Center Mall in Chaguanas. One of the more controversial and colorful candidates of this election is retired judge now Herbert Volney. What makes his entry so interesting is that he was a sitting judge up to Tuesday. That is until word started making the rounds that he was a prospective UNC candidate. It was then the Chief Justice called him into a meeting and raised the issue, telling him he would accept his resignation. That resignation became effective at midnight on April 28th. In tonight's Sound Off segment, UNC leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the PNM leader, Prime Minister Patrick Manning, square off on the issue.
Imagine what it took for a distinguished judge as Justice Volney to arrive at a decision to leave behind his career as a judge to become involved in the change that is so desperately required in our country. He would be leaving all his years of study, his dedication to the judiciary, the benefits accrued from his position, and he may open himself to the ridicule that is sure to come from Manning's PNM, simply because Justice Volney chose to put Trinidad and Tobago before his own needs. Justice Volney's decision underscores the desperate need by every sector in our society to remove Mr. Manning from office.
A week ago, an announcement was made that a senior magistrate has been selected as the candidate for Princestown of the United National Congress. He was a senior magistrate today. The next day, he was a candidate for the United National Congress. And today, my dear friends, we're seeing this thing again. A judge today, a judge of the High Court today, a candidate for the UNC tomorrow. I ask this question: do you believe, my dear friends, that both honorable gentlemen resigned and then decided to become candidates? Or do you believe that a discussion was taking place between the two honorable gentlemen and the United National Congress while they were still on the bench? And I ask you another question: how long did those discussions start? I ask you another question, my dear friends. How long has those discussions been going on? How long has there been association with the two members of the bench and the United National Congress? Has there been interference in the judiciary by the United National Congress in violation of the concept of separation of powers? And as Montesquieu put it, undermining the independence of the judiciary and therefore undermining the democracy of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
So what's Justice Volney saying about this? Well, in a prepared statement which he read to the media at the Rienzi complex on the day he was screened, which was a Thursday, Justice Volney explained why he took the decision.
This is perhaps the most judicious decision I have ever had to make, in the full face of any criticism which this may cause. I feel compelled to leave behind a career and life in the judiciary to save a country I know would not survive another term under the current political leadership. I have weighed my options carefully before making the sacrifice of a judicial career of which I have a further 8 years in which I can serve, in order to assist the process of delivering our beloved Trinidad and Tobago from the crisis it faces today. Each day over the last almost 16 years, as I sat on the bench, I stared into the eye of evil, and you better believe that, as case after case of the basest kind were brought before me. Making tough decisions to correct wrongs is not uncommon to me. I am fearless in this regard, and my work and life is living testimony to this. If I may go off script, I can tell you all that my only fear is the fear of God. I fear no man. What is ironic is that the independence of the judiciary should be held up as one of the criticisms of my decision, when that is precisely one of the very reasons I took the decision to leave and play a part in ensuring there is a change in the political directorate. The former Director of Public Prosecutions, you would recall, recounted the circumstances in which the Attorney General sought to interfere with his independence as Director of Public Prosecutions and attempted to press him into advancing what he believed to be a political agenda. Again, I will leave the script briefly, and I will tell you that in my own experience, there was a time when I had allowed Imam Abu Bakr to attend a religious meeting in Caracas, Venezuela. Attorney General John Jeremy wrote the acting Chief Justice Roger Hamel-Smith and sought to have me account for my decision. After I had written the acting Chief Justice Roger Hamel-Smith protesting that the Attorney General John Jeremy had crossed the line and should be put in his place, Mr. Jeremy backed off. So it is not just interference with the Director of Public Prosecutions. There was an attempt to interfere with me by John Jeremy in carrying out my constitutional function as a judge of your Supreme Court. You would also recall the hounding of the former Chief Justice Satyanarayana Sharma. I stood up, as you would recall, for the Honorable Satyanarayana Sharma. And when Mr. Ramesh Maharaj was Attorney General and he was engaged in some sort of imbroglio with then Chief Justice Michael de Labastide, at the time when the UNC formed the government, I stood up fearlessly in support of then Chief Justice Michael de Labastide. My life and my work precedes me. I see the emergence here today in this country of a dangerous, self-absorbed tyrant who will stop at nothing to get those around him to do his biddings. His rantings and ravings on the political platforms are there for all of us to see. So judge me, if you will, not for the hastiness between my retirement as a judge, which I am entitled to do, and my entrance into the realm of politics, which is also my constitutional entitlement as a citizen of this country. The weight of the burden of my doing nothing to save this country far outweighs anything anyone may say about what is now my judgment call, and it is to seek to help the people from the Chamber of Parliament.
From the PNM's perspective, the judge's entry into politics casts a shadow over the independence of the judiciary. From the UNC's platform, it's a coup d'etat, which leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar says proves even the judiciary is tired with, in her words, the management or mismanagement of the country. We'll take a break, and when we return, promises from the platform. Stay tuned.